Hey everybody, it's April 1st, 2020, and this is not an April Fool's joke, although it might turn into that. This is PJ coming at you. I am not a baker nor a cook. I'm coming at you from the kitchen at MRCCC. I guess this is why we have insurance on our church, but here we go. What I'm doing here is I want to do a video that's going to kick off our Easter series this Sunday. That series is called Commune, and it's going to have three parts. The first part is going to be the bread. The next Sunday is going to be my body, and then the third Sunday is going to be the wine. And I am really super excited to share this with you. The first of the messages is all complete, and this will be perfect to kick that off. Just a shout out to our kids at the church and at Pioneer Club. I would invite you to participate in this. Maybe you could do this at home, of course, with your parents' help, because we're going to be dealing with a hot oven here. But this is something you could do at home and you could enjoy. What we're going to do is I want to make with you the kind of bread that Jesus used during the Last Supper when he instituted the first communion. And I also want to share with you really briefly why that is so important. We're going to make bread, but it's going to be really simple. It's a bread called matzah. Matzah is a special kind of bread. It's made without yeast. Now that's super important, and I'm going to give you so much more detail on that on the message on Sunday. So I hope you will tune into that. That's at 10:45 this Sunday, April 6th. So I hope to, well, I almost said I hope to see you there, but I'm not going to see you there. But I hope you see me at that time. So that'll be on Sunday. But for now, yeast is a microorganism that makes bread puff up. When you cut into a fresh loaf of bread and you see all those little like pockets or bubbles in there, that's from the yeast. Without yeast, if you make bread without yeast, it's more like a cracker texture. It's flat and it's crunchy. And we're going to see that today. And the reason that this is so important is because yeast is an illustration in the Bible for sin. Let me show you what I mean by that. And there's one passage I'll just read here. It's 1 Corinthians 5:6. Paul's writing to the Corinthians, and he says, your boasting is not good. That's 1 Corinthians 5:6 through 8. Your boasting is not good. Don't you know that a little yeast works through the whole batch of dough? Get rid of the old yeast, that you may be a new batch without yeast, as you really are. For Christ, our Passover lamb, has been sacrificed. Therefore, let us keep the festival not with the old yeast, the yeast of malice and wickedness, but with bread without yeast, the bread of sincerity and truth. So that passage shows us that yeast is used in the Bible as an illustration of sin. So we're going to make bread without yeast, which is an illustration of a life without sin. Again, more on that on Sunday. So here we go. Let's do this thing. I have preheated an oven here to 500 degrees. That's really hot. And I'm going to take this baking sheet, this high-rim baking sheet, and I am going to put that in this oven right now, upside down. And I'm going to let that get good and hot, and that's going to crisp up our matzah bread really well. So we'll just leave that in there for a while. Now let's get on to our ingredient. I have measured out 2 cups of this kind of flour. A teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons, oops, you didn't see that, of olive oil, and a 3/4 cup of water. I'm going to mix that up. And it's really important when you do this that you act like you know what you're doing. So I'm going to knead this. Actually, that's kind of nice. This is going much better than I anticipated. Cut that into 4 parts. I'm going to take each part, cut that into 2 more parts each. Then I'm going to take one of those, and I'm going to roll that out, except I don't have a rolling pin, so I'm going to have to use my hand. I knew I'd forget something. Loving it. Okay, now I am going to smear on here a little bit of olive oil onto each one. That will help to crisp it up a little bit. I'm going to put this in the oven on that sheet for about 2 minutes. While I'm waiting, I'm going to flatten out a couple more of these. You're supposed to poke holes in these like this. Flip them over and wait 2 or 3 more minutes. You know what else I forgot? Sprinkle it with salt. I can taste that garlic. I can taste that onion. Perfectly seasoned. Wow, that's good. Another thing you can do with this stuff is you can make it into matzo pizza just by putting marinara sauce on it and a little bit of mozzarella. And that looks fantastic. I've never done it, but it looks great. So I might do that after I saw out here. So that's it. Made a mess. Now I got to clean it up. So thanks for joining me. This is Pastor Jerry signing off. We made some matzah.